Proceed for the phase rule module. See, the problem statement was, this problem is with you only, 20 ml of standard hard water. What are we doing here? 20 ml of standard hard water containing 1.2 grams calcium carbonate equivalent per liter required 35 ml of EDTA. To stop, 50 ml of hard water required 30 ml of the same EDTA. Full stop. Then 100 ml. Okay, most of you have made mistake over here, this statement. 100 ml of hard water sample after boiling 25 ml of the same required 25 ml of the same EDTA. Calculate various hardness. Okay. So this is typical problem, but as I told you before, you should extract out data very carefully and precisely. Okay. So solution to this problem, first you should find out very standard hard water. So we have already decided standard hard water is that water with known hardness. Okay, hardness is given. So here you will find 1.2 gram CaCO3 per liter. Means this is what the water with known hardness. And also here standard hard water word is mentioned. So there is no difficulty in selecting or choosing. Okay. So that I should write first. 20 ml of standard hard water. Okay. When it, and that water consists of 1.2 gram, right? 1.2 gram per liter. Calcium carbonate equivalent hardness, right? This is the way we should write, that we already decided. Okay. First, quantity of standard hard water. Okay. Below that, you should write its composition, and that should be correct. Read बघायचं 1.5 gram per liter आहे का आणि काय आहे, that should be very accurate. And how much EDTA consumed, that should you write over here is equal to 35 ml EDTA. Okay. So this is the first statement we should use. So here, what is the aim of this step? This is standardization of EDTA. So aim of this step is 1 ml of EDTA. 1 ml of EDTA is equal to what milligrams of CaCO3 equivalent hardness. This is what the ultimate aim. So for that purpose, what we have decided is you concentrate on this composition. Okay. So composition is 1.2 gram per liter. So you write down that composition in mathematical form. 1.2 gram per liter. So what I should write? 1 liter of standard hard water. 1 liter of standard hard water. Okay. Is equal to 1.2 grams. 1.2 gram calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. म्हणजे जे आहे ते कंपोजिशन फक्त मी लिहिलं आहे मॅथमॅटिकल फॉर्म मध्ये. 1 liter of standard hard water is equal to 1.2 grams of CaCO3 hardness. Now let us convert this 1 liter into ml. Therefore 1 liter means 1 into 1000 ml. So I should write 1000 ml of standard hard water is equal to, now grams to milligrams. So 1 gram is 1000 milligrams. So I should multiply 1.2 by 1000. That much milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. Okay. So see, we are just concentrating on this composition of standard hard water only. आपण अजून डेटा वापरला नाही इथला, ही क्वांटिटी वापरली नाहीये. ओके. आपण फक्त कंपोजिशन वापरलाय 1.2 grams per liter. Now what it suggests, 1000 ml of standard hard water contains 1.2 into 1000 means 1200 milligrams of CaCO3 equivalent hardness. So out of this 1000 ml or 1 liter, we took 20 ml, okay, for sanitization. So 1000 ml is this much, 20 ml is what? Therefore 20 ml of standard hard water which was used for actual sanitization of EDTA is equal to what? Okay, so cross multiplication. This will go up, this will come down. So this is what? 1.2 into 1000 into 1000. So 20 will come up and 1000 will go down. Right? 20 will come up, 1000 will go down. So this 20, what is the answer? This 1000 get cancelled. 20 into 1.2. Okay, that is what the milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. Okay, so I can write 20 ml of standard hard water is equal to 12 into 2 is 24. Okay, so 24 milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. बरोबर. 20 ml जे आपण स्टँडर्ड हार्ड वॉटर वापरलं त्याच्यामध्ये किती मिलीग्राम्स आहे? सी व्हाईल सॉल्विंग एव्हरी न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लेम ऑन EDTA, your aim or first step is this only: what amount of or what milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness present in quantity of standard hard water used for that sanitization. सॅनिटायझेशनसाठी जे EDTA चे व्हॉल्यूम वापरलं, ml वापरलं, त्याच्यामध्ये किती मिलीग्राम हार्डनेस आहे, हाच एम आहे. ओके, याच्यापेक्षा वेगळं काय करायचं नाहीये. Okay, now so 20 ml of standard hard water is 24 milligrams. So instead of writing this 20 ml, I should write what? 24 milligrams. Therefore 24 milligrams calcium carbonate equivalent hardness, okay, is equal to 35 ml EDTA. Okay, so मी त्या 20 ml ऐवजी ह्या 20 ml स्टँडर्ड हार्ड वॉटर ऐवजी मी काय लिहिलं 24 milligrams of CS equivalent hardness, and that actually consumed 25 ml of EDTA. Okay, then what we do, we swap this LHS and RHS. We will take RHS this side, LHS other side. Therefore I can write 35 ml, okay, EDTA is equal to 24 milligrams CaCO3 equivalent hardness. Okay, so 35 ml of EDTA is 24. So 1 ml is what? That is what the ultimate aim of the standardization step. 1 ml EDTA is equal to what? Cross multiplication. So 1 into 24 by 35. So 24 by 35 milligrams. Okay, and that is equal to 0.685 milligrams calcium carbonate equivalent. Okay, so बऱ्याच जणांनी इथपर्यंत बरोबर सॉल्व्ह केलंय. काय काय जणांनी फक्त 0.68 लिहिलंय, 5 लिहिलं नाहीये. असं करायचं नाहीये, कम्प्लीट केलं पाहिजे, 3 डिजिट्स पण घेतलं पाहिजे. 0.685. So that is what the first step. Okay, इथपर्यंत सगळ्यांनी बरोबर केलंय. सेकंड स्टेप पण बरोबर आहे. Okay, what is second step? Second step is what? Total hardness determination. Okay, so to calculate total hardness, we should know where is unknown hard water or sample of water. Okay, this is what the unknown hard water, right? 50 ml of hard water sample required 30 ml of the same EDTA. So unknown word is not there, but since this is not standard water and not boiled water, it is unknown water. Okay, so सर म्यूट करा सगळ्यांनी, आवाज येते बघा, डिस्टर्बन्सेस आहे. ओके, so This statement, second statement, belongs to unknown hard water, and with the help of that we can determine total hardness. Okay, so let us move to the second step. So you should write that statement, unknown hard water statement. So according to given data, quantity is 50 ml. 50 ml of water sample इथे म्हटलंय की hard water म्हटलंय इथे. So I can write unknown hard water, and that consumes 30 ml ADP. Okay, so you have to be very careful while extracting out data from a problem statement. Okay, now 50 ml of unknown hard water is equal to 30 ml of EDTA. 30 ml of which EDTA? Which is standardized. Standardized means what? Strength is known. 1 ml of EDTA. This EDTA is equal to 0.685. आपण मगाशी काढलं 0.685 milligrams calcium carbonate equivalent. So this we have already determined. Okay, so 1 ml of EDTA is 0.0685. 30 ml of EDTA is what? So therefore 50 ml of unknown hard water is equal to 30 into 0.685 milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. Okay, so here we got hardness actually, but this hardness is milligram liter. This milligrams per 1000 ml. So 50 ml is equal to this 1000 ml of unknown hard water is equal to what? So we will take cross multiplication. Okay, so this 30 into 0.685 will remain as it is. 1000 will move up and 50 will go down. Okay, so here we have now milligrams per 1000 ml. Milligrams per 1000 ml. मुझे क्या ppm मध्ये आन्सर मिळाला. And water is unknown, so I can write this as a total hardness. Unknown म्हणजे काय? It contains both temporary and permanent hardness for the impurity. So total hardness of water is equal to this is I think 411 ppm. हे पण बऱ्याच जणांनी बरोबर काढलंय. 411 most of the students they have calculated perfectly, no problem. Okay, 411 or 408 because most of some of you they got 0.068 only. They neglected this 5. Okay, so you should not do that. You take all 3 digits, right? So this is what a total hardness. One step is over. Now third step was standardization, second total hardness. Now third stage is about estimation of permanent hardness. Now for permanent hardness estimation, we should know where is boiled hard water. Boiled hard water कुठे शोधायचं problem मध्ये? What's the quantity used? What amount of EDTA consumed? एवढं आपल्याला पाहिजे. Okay, that statement you should write in the mathematical. So here in this case, 100 ml of hard water after boiling. So I should write boiled hard water, BHW, boiled hard water. Okay, so तुम्ही काय केलं पाहिजे? Instead of 100 you took 50 ml, because in previous all problems we have solved during lecture we took 50 ml. So you thought every time we should take 50 ml. It's not like that. असं काय नाहीये. जे प्रॉब्लेम मध्ये दिलेलं आहे तोच डेटा घ्यायला पाहिजे. You should not be prejudiced. Okay, no prejudice, no bias. Whatever you find on question paper, same data you should write on a answer book. Okay, इथे सगळ्यांनी मिस्टेक केली. सगळ्यांनी 50 घेतले. ठीक आहे. So 100 ml of boiled hard water is equal to, when it was titrated against same EDTA, it consumed 25 ml EDTA. ओके 25 ml EDTA हे आता आपल्याला दिसतंय प्रॉब्लेम सॉरी okay so 25 ml of which EDTA which is already standardized 1 ml of this EDTA is 0.685 that we have determined 1 ml of it is 0.685 25 ml is what so 25 into 0.685 so what I should write is this therefore 100 ml of boiled hard water is equal to 25 into 0.685 so that is milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. So here we got hardness milligrams per 100 ml. Our unit is milligrams per 1000 ml means 1 liter. So 100 ml is this, so 1000 ml is what? 1000 ml of boiled hard water is equal to we have to take cross product. So 25 into 0.685 will remain as it is. 1000 will come up and 100 will go down. Okay, so what is unit of this milligrams of calcium carbonate equivalent? So here we got milligrams per 1000 ml means what? ppm. Milligrams per means what? ppm. So I can and water is boiled. Water boiled means what? It is free from temporary hardness. It consists only permanent hardness. So I should write permanent hardness. Permanent hardness is equal to, if you calculate this, you will get 171.25 ppm. The second step is also over. Second step, this is third step actually, but with respect to hardness, it is second step. Now last step is what? Temporary hardness. Temporary hardness. We know that temporary hardness is total hardness that we have calculated in the second step minus permanent hardness we have just calculated. Okay, so total hardness is 411 minus 171.25. Okay, so this answer is 239.75. 239.75 ppm. So this is what a temporary hardness. This is first hardness, total hardness. This is permanent hardness, and this is temporary hardness, and this is one result of first step. 1 ml of EDTA is what. Okay. So most of you have calculated this quantity perfect, no problem. Even total hardness, but most of you made mistake. Okay. At this step. Permanent hardness determination. You took 50 ml instead of 100 ml. So he mistake होता कामा नहीं. So here you took 50 ml, so which is not correct. जी काही क्वांटिटी असेल ती क्वांटिटी मी काही सॉल्व केलं होतं असं पुस्तकात वाचलं होतं असं काही म्हणायचं नाही. जे समोर प्रॉब्लेम आहे तोच डेटा घ्यायचा. ओके एवढा सोपा प्रॉब्लेम होता. ठीक आहे. So we will finish this module over here and we will move to the next module. Okay, this is what the next module. This syllabus is already introduced to you. The title of the module is phase rule. Okay. So here I extracted out few questions which are usually asked on this module. The first question is define Gibbs phase rule, of course, and describe the various terms involved in it. You have to define Gibbs phase rule and describe the various terms involved in it. That's statement. Gibbs phase rule statement you need to write, and you have to describe the various terms involved in it with relevant examples. The second question, most typical, describe one component system or water system with the help of neat labeled phase diagram. Here you need to draw phase diagram for water system. Okay, that is pressure versus temperature diagram. That you need to draw various parts of the phase diagram. Okay, various areas, lines, points, various phases involved, and then you have to calculate degrees of freedom for every part of the graph. Second typical question on this module. Third is, what is reduced or condensed phase rule? Reduced or condensed phase rule, and describe two component system, lead silver system, with the help of phase diagram. Okay, so after studying this give application of this phase rule for one component system, we will apply this phase rule to two component system. When we apply it to two component system, it is called as a reduced or condensed phase rule. It is not normal phase rule; it's a condensed phase rule. Okay, and this is one of the most fascinating application of Gibbs phase rule. Okay, so with the help of this rule, we draw phase diagrams for alloy systems. Okay, and most typical alloy which we use in engineering is what? Steel, iron carbon system, which is two component system. But that diagram is bit complex. That is not included in the syllabus. Simple diagram, simple two component system is introduced. Lead silver system. That we will study with the help of phase diagram. And then one more question is possible: the application and limitations of phase. Okay. So if you prepare these 4 questions properly, you can address all questions, all possible questions. I mean, there may be sub questions, short answer type question, large answer type questions. Okay, if you know answers of these 4 questions, all questions can be tackled, no problem. Okay, so let us see. Directly we will try to address the first question. Define Gibbs phase rule. Describe the various terms involved in it. Okay, so as I told you, this most fascinating application of Gibbs phase rule is what? In the preparation of alloys. Okay. And in engineering we use several alloys. And most important alloy, as I told you, is a steel, and that is typical two component system. Okay. So this Gibbs phase rule is based on thermodynamic concepts. Okay. That we will not go in detail. Derivation is not there. We will just write the Gibbs phase rule statement, and then we will define each and every term involved in it. That's all. Okay. The first Gibbs phase rule. So it is defined in this way: for every heterogeneous system, when the equilibrium between any number of phases is influenced means affected only by temperature, pressure, or composition of phases, then number of degrees of freedom F is related to number of phases P and number of components C by Gibbs phase rule as follows, and that is what the relation F is equal to C minus P plus P. Okay, definition पर हो गया अपन तुम्हारा समझो डिटेल में दोगे थोड़ा. So what he says for every heterogeneous system. What is meaning of heterogeneous system? Any system having showing more than one phases based on temperature, pressure, concentration condition. Okay, that system should show more than one phase. For example, water system. Water, it shows 3 phases. At normal temperature, it is liquid. Okay. When we cool it down, when we freeze it, it is converted to ice, and when we heat it above 100 degrees Celsius, it shows vapor phase. Okay, so 3 phases are possible. So we can say water system is a heterogeneous system. So this Gibbs phase rule is applied to such systems. So what he says, for every heterogeneous system when the equilibrium between any number of phases, जसं वॉटरमध्ये 3 फेजेस आहेत, हे 2 असू शकतात किंवा 1 पण असू शकतं. So equilibrium between any number of phases is affected or influenced only by temperature, pressure, composition of phases. म्हणजे कोणकोणते इफेक्ट कन्सिडर केले गिब्सने? फक्त टेम्परेचर, प्रेशर अँड कंपोजिशन ऑफ एव्हरी फेज एवढंच कन्सिडर केले. नो इलेक्ट्रिक फोर्स, मॅग्नेटिक, ग्रॅव्हिटेशनल फोर्स, सरफेस फोर्सेस, दे आर नॉट कन्सिडर्ड. Only temperature, pressure and composition are considered. Okay, the effect of these parameters on equilibrium between the various phases in heterogeneous system. Okay, जर असं आपण कन्सिडर केलं हेट्रोजेनस सिस्टीम आहे आणि ती फक्त ह्या तिघांच्या इन्फ्लुएन्स अंडर आहे, टेम्परेचर, प्रेशर, कंपोजिशन, बाकी कुठला आपण इफेक्ट कन्सिडर केलेला नाही, तर काय होईल? तो गिव्स काय म्हणतो, देन द नंबर ऑफ डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम F is related to number of phases P and number of components C by F is equal to C minus P plus 2. F means your number of degrees of freedom. Okay, so the definition बघणार. C is number of components. Okay, P is number of phases. So F degrees of freedom is equal to number of components minus number of phases plus 2. Okay, so this is what the relation he proposed. Okay. Now we will see the terms involved in it. So first term is phase, P. Phase that define according to Gibbs. So how we define? He said it is any homogeneous, physically distinct and mechanically separable part of system which is separated from other such parts by definite boundary surfaces. डेफिनेशन तुम्हाला कधी कधी लिहिता यायला पाहिजे बऱ्यापैकी. म्हणजे सायंटिफिक तिचं जो सायंटिफिक ब्युटी आहे ती कमी काम तुम्हाला चेंज करता येणार नाही. ओके, थोडंफार इकडे तिकडे होईल पण डेफिनेशन मॅक्सिमम तशीच पाहिजे. डेफिनेशन काय म्हणते? इट इज एनी होमोजिनियस. आता आपण फेज बद्दल बोलतोय. सो फॉर एक्झाम्पल सपोज वॉटर सिस्टम. ओके, सो water system can have 3 phases: liquid, okay, then ice, solid, and vapor is a gaseous phase. So if you consider individual phase, आता आपण phase define करतो. समजा आपण आता water phase define करूया. Okay, liquid phase. So liquid phase is what? Homogeneous by itself. It contains only liquid. There is no vapor. There is no ice. So it is homogeneous by itself. Boundaries can be completely defined. Physically distinct. Suppose we have 2 phases together. Suppose water and ice, they are there together at particular temperature. Okay. So how can you define phase then? So ice is one phase and liquid water is another phase. So ice is homogeneous by itself. Liquid water is homogeneous by itself. Okay. And they are physically distinct. We can distinguish ice and liquid water by naked eyes. So they are physically distinct. Okay. And mechanically separable. We can separate ice from liquid water. We can separate vapors from liquid water. So vapor is another phase. So at boiling point we can have vapor phase and that can be separated from liquid water. That's well known. So there are the 3 words. First is homogeneous. Every phase is homogeneous by itself. Then physically distinct. We can distinguish the phases in case of water. Okay. And mechanically separable. We can separate all 3 phases in case of water. Okay. So phase is any homogeneous, physically distinct, mechanically separable part of a system which is separated from other such parts. Okay? Separated from other such parts by definite boundary surfaces. Okay. So just like liquid water is separated from ice, so we can easily identify the boundary between liquid and solid ice, or liquid water and vapors of water. So definite boundary surfaces we can easily identify. That entity is called the phase. So example तुम्हाला मी सांगितल्याप्रमाणे, suppose we have ice which is solid phase in equilibrium with water which is liquid phase, and vapor it is gaseous phase. So if you know this equilibrium, definition can be easily written. So this is one phase, this is liquid is another phase, vapor is third. So these are homogeneous by themselves, physically distinct. We can distinguish between the three. They can be mechanically separated, and they have definite boundary between them. Okay, so that is what the definition. पण हे पाठ पण करायची गरज नाही. जर तुम्ही ही इक्विलिब्रियम लक्षात तुम्ही ठेवली की तुम्ही आरामात करू शकता, ओळखू शकता. तुम्हाला मी अजून पण विचारतो, इथे फेजेस किती आहे? 3 आहे. ठीक आहे. मग मी फेज मध्ये अजून एक विचारतो, तुम्ही मला सांगा, जर सिस्टीम अशी असेल, मी वरती येतो कोपऱ्यात. Suppose I have water and oil. Water and oil. This is the system. So, can you tell me how many phases are there? How many phases are there? How many phases do you see? Both are liquid. Oil is a liquid. Water is also liquid. How many phases do you see? Okay, so even though they both are liquid, they are immiscible liquids. So immiscible liquids, they form two phases. Okay, two phases. Okay. Suppose I have water and that is mixed with alcohol, C2H5OH, ethyl alcohol. Both are in liquid phase. Now, how many phases are possible?
One phase.
That's absolutely correct. Why? Because these are miscible. Perfect answer. It is only one phase because both are miscible. So even though we have two different liquids, they are miscible. So miscible liquids, they produce one phase system. Now suppose I have sodium chloride, okay, and added in say water. किती phases तयार होतील? Sodium chloride is a solid and water is a liquid. How many phases do you expect? Of course, one phase. Why? Because sodium chloride is completely soluble in water. Okay. So once we dissolve sodium chloride in water, they are homogeneous. Okay, together homogeneous. Physically, they are not distinct now. Sodium chloride and water, they are not physically distinct, right? Okay. So, in case of system having solute which is soluble in solvent, they produce one phase system. Okay. Now, suppose I add sodium chloride, okay, in say C2H5, OH. Sodium chloride added in alcohol. Is it soluble? No. So it is not soluble. So here you can easily distinguish sodium chloride as a one phase and C2H5OH as another phase. So we can have a two phase. Okay. So I hope you understood what exactly phase. So phase is simply homogeneous by itself, physically distinct and mechanically separable part of a heterogeneous system. Okay. So we will turn to next. Here you can give these examples also additionally, or you can give such examples in case of water itself. In case of water, you can write like say ice only. Ice is a one phase. You can write one phase. Suppose we have water, which is in liquid phase, and that is in equilibrium with ice. Okay, that is solid. This example also you can give, and that is example of two-phase system. बरोबर? अशी एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही ऍडिशनली देऊ शकता. एक्झाम्पल 4-5 एक्झाम्पल द्यायचे. ओके, तुमचं ते मार्क्स मला मिळू शकतो. Now Components. Next term. How to define components? So obviously component is what? It tells us about what is present in every phase. This composition of phase, okay, is represented by component. Now let us define in a scientific way. So it is the smallest number, smallest number of independently variable constituents by means of which the composition, this is important, by means of which composition of each phase can be expressed either directly or in the form of chemical equation. Okay, so component म्हणजे काय? It is what the representative of the composition of every phase. प्रत्येक फेजचं composition काय आहे हे सांगणारा कोण जो आहे smallest number, that is what component. Okay, so now if you take example of same equilibrium you can repeat in all three definitions. म्हणजे phases ला पण same example, component ला पण same, okay, and degree of freedom ला पण same. तुम्हाला जास्त एक्झाम्पल पाठ करायची गरज नाही. जनरली वॉटर सिस्टीम जी आहे त्याच्यात आपण एक्झाम्पल देत राहायचं सगळ्यामध्ये, तुमच्या मेमरीवरती असं तुम्हाला मग स्ट्रेस येणार नाही. ठीक आहे. सो आईस इन इक्विलिब्रियम विथ वॉटर इन इक्विलिब्रियम विथ वेपर. इफ यू ऑब्झर्व this system, can somebody tell me how many phases are there and how many components do you expect? P is equal to what and C is equal to what in this case? System having three phases in equilibrium simultaneously present. Bola, what is P and what is C? पहिल्यांदा phases सांगा कोणीतरी. P is equal to what?
3.
3, correct. We have three phases. One is solid, ice, liquid water, and third is water. What about component? How many components are there? So component is what? Composition of every phase. Okay, representative. And it is smallest number. And it is independently variable. Okay, and it represents what? Composition of every phase. So suppose we have ice. So what is composition of ice? सांगा बघूया. Ice मध्ये काय असतं केमिकली? काय असतं? H2O असतो ना यामध्ये. H2O असतो. वॉटर मध्ये, लिक्विड वॉटर मध्ये काय असतं? आईस मेल्ट झाला तर काय असेल लिक्विड वॉटर मध्ये? पण H2O असेल, बरोबर. आणि जर आपण हीट केलं, बॉईल केलं अबोव 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस, व्हॉट विल बी देअर? अगेन H2O, इवन दो इट इज वेपर फेज. सो इट मीन्स in all phases we have one and same component, and that is H2O. So system is one component. Even though we have three phases, all three phases, their composition can be expressed by H2O only. So this is one component system. Suppose I have only ice. So answer is very simple. Component is equal to 1. Okay, phase is equal to 1. Suppose I have water which is in liquid phase in equilibrium with vapor which is a gaseous phase. Okay, so here phases 2, liquid phase and vapor phase, but component again 1. Here also, here we have H2O, and in case of liquid water also H2O. You understand? So this is what the one component system. So such examples you can use. So I hope you understood what is component. Component is what? It represents composition of each and every phase. That's all. Now, so here component is one. Now degrees of freedom. Last term involved in this each phase F. So let us define it. So it is the minimum number. It is the minimum number of independently variable factors. Now it is factor. Component is what? Composition or constituent. But degrees of freedom is what? Factor. It is either temperature, pressure or concentration. Okay, हे पहिल्यांदा लक्षात द्यायला पाहिजे. तर डिफाइन करणं कसं करायला पाहिजे? सायंटिफिकली करायला पाहिजे. It is the minimum number of independently variable factors such as pressure, temperature, or composition of phases. डिग्री ऑफ फ्रीडम मध्ये काय असणार आहे, इट इज मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंटली व्हेरिएबल फॅक्टर. एक तर तो प्रेशर असेल त्या सिस्टीमचा, ठीक आहे, तर फेजचा पर्टिक्युलर फेजचं प्रेशर असेल, टेम्परेचर और कंपोजिशन, या तिघापैकी कोणती असणार आहे. ओके, विच मस्ट बी फिक्स्ड और स्पेसिफाइड. ओके, कशासाठी स्पेसिफाय करायला पाहिजे, टू डिफाइन फ्युचर ऑफ दॅट फेज और फ्युचर ऑफ द सिस्टम. ओके, टू डिफाइन द कंडिशन ऑफ द सिस्टम परफेक्टली ऍट द इक्विलिब्रियम. म्हणजे एक सिस्टीम जी आहे ती इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये एक्झिस्ट होईल की नाही. ओके, हे कोण सांगणार, तर ह्या तिघापैकी एक तर प्रेशर सांगेल, टेम्परेचर सांगेल, कंपोजिशन सांगेल, किंवा तिन्ही सांगते सायमल्टेनियसली, तिनापैकी दोन कोणते सांगतील, वॉट एव्हर. ओके, so that is what degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom is simply any one of these three factors. Okay, pressure, temperature or composition. Okay, and which must be fixed or which must be specified or which must be known. थोडक्यात सांगितलं, हे तुला माहिती पाहिजे, त्यापैकी कुठला फॅक्टर स्पेसिफाय करायला पाहिजे किंवा फिक्स करायला पाहिजे, जेणेकरून दिलेली इक्विलिब्रियम एक्झिस्ट होईल, दिलेली सिस्टीम राहील, तिचं फ्युचर म्हणजे फ्युचरचं सांगेल एक्झिस्टेड और नॉट एक्झिस्टेड. Okay. For example दिला तुम्ही लक्ष देईल. Suppose we have same equilibrium, ice in equilibrium with liquid water and in equilibrium with vapor. अशी सिस्टीम आहे समजा. Okay. Now this equilibrium will be existed or not. If it is existing, at what temperature, at what pressure, and at what concentration it will be existed. That is what is degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom for this system are fixed. Okay. So let us see degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom, F is equal to C minus P plus 2. That is what gives phase rule. Okay. So here, if you look at C value, what is C value? C is what? C is 1. Because everywhere we have so C is what? 1. C is equal to 1. Because in all three phases we have H2 only. Okay. Phases, we have three different phases: solid, liquid, and vapor or gas. Phases. So it becomes F is equal to C is equal to 1 minus phases 3 plus 2. So it becomes 0. It becomes 0. So we will try to understand meaning of F is equal to 0 while studying water system. And our triple point म्हणतात actually. This is unique point and its conditions are fixed by the nature. Okay, इथे degrees of freedom 0 आले. याचा अर्थ काय होतो, कुठलाही जे टेम्परेचर प्रेशर फिक्स करायची गरज नाही, इट्स ऑलरेडी फिक्स्ड बाय द नेचर. ओके, त्यामुळे ही सिस्टीम एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी आहे. हा एक्झाम्पल वरून तुम्हाला कळणार नाही, तुम्हाला मी दुसरं एक्झाम्पल देतो, लक्ष द्या काय आहे ते. ओके, दुसरं एक्झाम्पल आपण इथे घेऊया साईडला. ह्या इक्विलिब्रियमचा जो F0 येतोय ना, त्याचा मिनिंग आपण वॉटर सिस्टीम शिकताना बघूया. दुसरी सिस्टीम घेऊया, म्हणजे लक्षात येईल. समजा माझ्याकडे काय आहे, फक्त आईस आहे. आय हॅव ओनली आईस विथ मी, दिस सॉलिड फेज. आय हॅव टू फाइंड आउट at what temperature and pressure it will be existed. Okay, so what is degrees of freedom for existence of ice? So अपना rule fix आहे, F is equal to C minus P plus 2. Now if you look at this system, here component is 1, H2. Phase is also 1. Phase is also 1. And so plus 2. So this get cancelled. F is equal to 2. So meaning of this is F is equal to this what? We need to fix both pressure and temperature simultaneously. Then and then only ice will be existed. Understand? Okay. Both the degrees of freedom 2 means what? We have to fix both pressure, temperature, fix. Composition is already fixed because it contains H2O. There is no variation. So composition is fixed. Remaining pressure and temperature. If you want ice to be existed, you have to fix pressure and temperature simultaneously. That is what the meaning of F is equal to 2. Now suppose I have another system where ice is in equilibrium with liquid water. Water in a liquid state. I have this system. Let us see the future of this system. कधी exist होईल की नाही, झाले तर कोणत्या टेम्परेचर प्रेशरला होईल हे बघूया. कोण फिक्स करायला, कोण स्पेसिफाय करा. ओके, म्हणजे डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम काय. तर एफ काय येणार, एफ इज इक्वल टू सी, सी मायनस पी प्लस टू. सी इज वॉट, कंपोनंट फिक्स आहे एकच H2 मायनस पी. फेजेस किती आहे, फेजेस 2. Okay, C minus P plus 2, so that is equal to 1. The degree of freedom is 1. Okay, what is meaning of this? This system is ice and liquid water can be existed by fixing either pressure or temperature. तुम्ही एक तर प्रेशर फिक्स करा किंवा टेम्परेचर फिक्स करा, दोन्ही सायमल्टेनियसली फिक्स करायची गरज नाही फॉर द एक्झिस्टन्स ऑफ दिस इक्विलिब्रियम. Ice and water equilibrium, we have to fix either pressure or temperature because F is equal to 1 according to Gibbs. Okay, so that is what the significance of degrees of freedom. So degrees of freedom tells us the future of equilibrium, whether that equilibrium will be existed or not. If existed or if it is existing, then at what temperature or what pressure, which parameter we need to fix, that can be understood with the help of degrees of freedom. And that is what we define. Degrees of freedom is what? Minimum number of independently variable factors such as temperature, pressure or composition which must be fixed. त्यापैकी कोणतरी फिक्स करायला पाहिजे किंवा स्पेसिफाय करायला पाहिजे. कशासाठी? टू डिफाइन कंडिशन ऑफ सिस्टीम परफेक्टली ॲट इक्विलिब्रियम. त्याची सिस्टीम इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये येईल की नाही, आहे की नाही, आली तर कुठला व्हेरिएबल आपल्याला फिक्स करायला पाहिजे. दॅट इज सजेस्टेड बाय डिग्रीज ऑफ. That's all. Okay, so this is all about the your Gibbs phase rule and terms involved in it. So whatever you see on my slides, okay, that is enough for examination. The question will be very straightforward. Define Gibbs phase rule. Describe the various terms involved in it. पहिल्यांदा तुम्ही गिब्स फेज रूलची स्टेटमेंट सांगायची, त्याचा मॅथमॅटिकल फॉर्म्युला लिहायचा, नंतर प्रत्येकाची डेफिनेशन द्यायची. म्हणजे फेजची डेफिनेशन, याचं एक्झाम्पल द्यायचं. सेम एक्झाम्पल आपण दिली ती एक्झाम्पल. कंपोनंटची डेफिनेशन, याचे एक्झाम्पल. डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडमची डेफिनेशन, त्याचं एक्झाम्पल. आन्सर इज ओव्हर. आता एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही जेवढी जास्त द्याल तेवढं चांगलं. डिपेंड्स ऑन वेटेज ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन. ओके, so I hope you understood this term. Next time we will apply this rule to one component system, that is simple system, water system. Okay, then you will understand what exactly the significance of this rule. Okay, so here we will stop. Please give attendance in chat box and you can. Thank you.